Bob Iaccino, Chief Market Strategist and Head of Research at TrendyTrade.com and TrendyTrade Pro. The end of the month, usually the last week of a month, is not a very active time in terms of data, so therefore the markets kind of slow down, quiet down, unless it's the end of a quarter, which the end of February is not. This particular week is different though, because we've got the first testimony for the new U.S. Fed Chair, Jay Powell, in front of Congress, the House Finance Committee and the Senate Banking Committee, and we've got quite a bit of central bank speaking leading up to that. Today we've got Draghi. I'm actually waiting to see what Draghi's going to say right now. We've got Quarles and Bullard from the U.S. We've got speakers from the Bank of England. All of that leading into this first Jerome Powell speech. Now, Jerome J. Powell, we know what his stance is. He has voted with the chair every single vote since he's been on the FOMC and at the Fed since 2012. But what we don't know is the way he's going to handle Q&A from Congress. And House members, Senate members, very notorious for trying to get a Fed speaker to back up their political agenda with sort of slanted questions. It'll be really interesting to see his tone, his body language, and sort of the content of the Q&A. That's going to be watched very closely, and it could push interest rates and subsequently equities where we don't necessarily want them to go. Coming in toward the end of the week, it is the beginning of March, but Friday non-farm payrolls have been pushed to next week. That is March 2nd, so it's going to be next week Friday, so we don't have that. And then overall, we've got a lighter interest rate environment right now. We're going to be watching that again in the context of this speech. This particular speech is the biggest thing going because we've got a new average on the 10-year now, 1 week average, about 285. Overall earnings was very positive. So we're looking toward the next quarter earnings already. Obviously, stocks trade on a prediction of the future, not where they're doing right now, but over 15% blended earnings growth rate with most of the S&P 500 having reported. Going into metals, into crude, into commodities, general commodities have a bullish tone to them. Gold is up today, copper is holding its gains, crude is holding its gains. So we'll see if we get another draw to the API and the EIA. That's going to be very important because the seasonal factors are bullish for crude right now. And then on top of all that, the dollar feels overall weak. Right now, as I speak to you, the dollar's up slightly, but the tone definitely selling the dollar, buying the euro and buying the yen, so we'll see how that plays out as well. This is Bob Iaccino, and a little bit slower of a week, but a very important Fed speech coming up with Jay Powell in front of Congress from TrendyTrade.com and TrendyTrade Pro.